Streaming in three, two, one. Hey, Internet, specific PowerShell user group here again, and we're here with Steve and Judd, who's going to talk about why you don't bash PowerShell. I think.
Thanks, James. I appreciate that awesome intro. Did I feed you all that information?
Most of it. I
Most
mean,
of
it
it,
still
most of
tastes all
it.
right.
All right. Well, let me share my screen. I gotta look over here and figure out which one I'm going to share. Here we go. Make sure this works.
Looks good.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Yes. So as James said, I'm just gonna walk us through some quick comparisons, and the big title is, "Hey, don't bash PowerShell," right? And in my role, my current role, I'm pretty much full-time Linux administrator, also firewall administrator, also some other things. One of those many hats kinds of roles. But we have 0 Windows servers at the company I'm at, and so I spend a lot of time at the what is the Linux prompt, and it may be Bash, but I tend to do a lot of PowerShell. I did get buy-in, so let's talk about this. All right, need to advance my slides. There we go. Because if you do Bash PowerShell, I will object. We're going to talk about that. All right, because PowerShell being an object-based language, and shell, that's what makes it so awesome. So why should you, the listener, care about this particular topic? And why am I talking about it? Well, because if you know PowerShell. So if you know PowerShell, it's good because you got kind of a leg up. And so all you got to do is get PowerShell on your Linux system and boom, good to go with that, right? But if you know Bash, that's good too, because you know what it is you're trying to do on the Linux systems. And they're both scripting languages, even though PowerShell is also a shell. Okay, but if you're in Bash, you know how to build things and you know how to do some structure. And the best thing about Bash is it comes with the operating system. And that's that security principle of living off the land. So if you want to live off the land, you better know some Bash in order to be functional on Linux. Also, if you know neither one of these, I'm going to encourage you to learn both of them, and this topic is applicable to you, but kind of helps if you're logical. So if you don't know either one, that's okay, but you kind of get the structure of how things should be and how you want to automate them and how you want to control your systems. This will be helpful to you because you're going to see some ideas, hopefully. Now, in the world we're in, besides it being all about LLMs and AI and the models and etc., it's still a yes and environment. So I stole that from Don Jones because he was talking way back actually is way back now. In 2019, he was saying, yet it's a yes and environment. So if I have 2 people that I'm going to hire, if this person knows PowerShell and this person knows PowerShell and Bash and Python, which one am I going to choose? Well, just because I know PowerShell, I also need to know Bash. Just because you know Azure, it's helpful if you know AWS and GCP. The more ands you have attached to you, the more skills you have, and the more marketable you are to employers. That's helpful, but also the more competent you can be in solving problems. You will most likely use both Windows and some flavor of Nix. I did that on purpose at some point. So, all right, let's get into it. There's some fundamental differences, or in this particular case, it may be fundamented differences, because the differences, they're there, and they can mess with your head if you're not like paying attention to what's going on, or even if you are paying attention, they'll still mess with you. All right, so Bash, because Bash is text driven, like the Linux operating system, very texty. So if you're going to be doing stuff, a little too early, if you're doing stuff in Linux and you're doing Bash, then you have to be able to parse that text because that's what you're getting back from Bash. And Bash is ubiquitous. So I mentioned this, where it's pretty much on all the Linux distros anymore. Now you'll still see some where it's been ripped out and you've got the corn shell or something else, and they don't have the Bash language on there for super stripped down instances, but they almost all have Bash. And it has extensive usage. There's lots and lots of examples, and there's people who've been doing this a long time, and so they can help you help you with bash scripting. So what about PowerShell? Okay, well, it's object-oriented. I mentioned that before. So what you're seeing on screen may look like text, but it's not text. And if you're familiar with PowerShell, you know this. If you're not familiar with PowerShell, you may not know that. So when you do ls in PowerShell on Linux, well, that's a trick question because, or that's a trick statement because you'll get the actual ls executable. But if you do GCI or dir, because you're wanting to list the files, what you're seeing on screen are the objects from the file system. And it is a rich data-based extensible solution. It's not a database solution, it's a data-based solution. That's the reason, basically, once I understood that, and that's what PowerShell does, when I kind of finally got that my head around that when I was getting started with PowerShell, and then it kind of opened up the world to me as far as, oh, I can see what we can do here. I'm getting this object, but I can add stuff onto it. I can reshape it. It's really cool. And we've got people on this user group session who are very skilled at doing the extending of solutions, and it's discoverable. That's the one thing that, if I was going to say, what is it that bugs you the most about doing work on Linux? It's that the commands are so hard to figure out and find in the first place. And then once you find them, you're reading the manuals and you're going through the man, and you're looking at all the switches and whatever, and you're like, why does capital R on this one do recursive, and on this other one, capital R is something else? Or my favorite is lowercase r is recursive in some commands and it's not in others. You're like, okay, there's no cohesion between these commands. And PowerShell, so you're basically reading all the documents in order to figure this out, and it doesn't tab complete, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's where PowerShell is really, really advantageous to you. All right, so for this talk, now that I've set all the intro up, I'm going to be running this on Windows 11, and I'm going to be doing PowerShell 7 because this is not Core. It's actually PowerShell 7. Some people call it Core. Core went out of style. Stop doing that. I'm going to be using WSL, and the flavor I'm choosing, I believe I do have Kali Linux installed, but I'll be using the Ubuntu environment. And I'm going to be doing commands, not scripts. So even though I have some of the commands saved, I'm going to pretend like I'm just typing them into the console like I would do when I'm doing my regular work. Okay, now, although both languages are very adept at scripting, that's an exploration for another time. I'm just going to be doing the commands. Okay, and finally, we have to do the legalese, because somewhere I got within the scent of the lawyer, and so I have to put disclaimers in my presentations, apparently. It is best practice when starting working with PowerShell to use the full commandlet name. Notice how I have to read this like a lawyer gave it to me? And not use positional parameters, rather to specify the full parameter name when entering PowerShell commands. I will not be doing this. I'm going to break the law. I'm working at the prompt and I abbreviate like a maniac because I'm trying to be fast. Okay. And get alias will show you what an alias is executing. So if you ever see me do something and you're like, well, what did he just do there? Because there are some odd ones in here for the aliases. You'll just run get alias on what that is so you can see what it is. All right. Lastly, many Windows PowerShell and PowerShell 7 aliases match executables in Linux or Nix, whatever your flavor is. So if you're on Mac OS or you're on Linux of whatever kind, like I mentioned before, and you do ls, you may be used to Windows, the alias ls, and it does get child item. Well, in Linux, because that's already an executable, it's not going to do it. The one that burns me the most on that is kind of the side, is the stinking sort, because I'm so used to taking an object and piping it into sort, and just, since sort is an alias for sort object, and I press enter and it fails because sort is an executable in Linux, and I don't use it enough to remember it, and I always screw that one up, it seems like. Okay, lots of yakety yak. Let's see some stuff. All right, here we go. We're going to make like a radio operator. and copy that. All right, I'm going to look over here at the chat. Yeah, no one laughed. Well, it's to be expected with my jokes that no one laughs. Okay, so we're going to do some copy. So the demo, what's the word? Contrived example is the words I was looking for. The contrived example that I've come up with is we're going to copy all the conf files in a directory to a backup directory. Seems simple enough. We're going to do it in Bash first, then we'll do it in PowerShell. So here's the Bash command. Normally, if I was asking the audience, I'd say, all right, raise your hand if you can read this and you know what it's doing. Kind of a one-way presentation here to some degree, but I'm gonna pretend like there's someone in the audience, and I remember my friend James. James, if I call on you, can you read this command?
After I unmute myself, yes. Find
Okay.
/ demo space - type F space - name quote star.conf quote - exec cp
Okay. I think
curly
you took me
braces
extremely literal.
/ demo / backup reverse / semi.
Yes, you read that very well. I'm very impressed. But what does it
But I
do?
already have glasses.
Yes, yes. Now explain it to us if you don't mind,
I have
if you can.
absolutely no idea.
Yeah, see,
I think I'm going to take a guess if you want me to, but I will.
yeah,
I will go and say before all the internet that I have done Windows longer than I have done Linux, and I am not a super Linux user, and so I am very likely to be wrong. But I'm going to say it's going to go find underneath the home demo folder, presumably. I'm going to guess type F means file. And I'm going to say name is star.conf. So that seems like any configuration file. And
yep,
then exec copy, well, CP copy, that makes sense. The curly braces, that's where I'm a little thrown off because I don't know what those are doing in this context.
right,
But I'm going
right,
to hopefully guess that it's going to be smart about what the destination path is.
uh-huh,
Otherwise, the destination path has got to be demo backup. What the ending / is, I don't know. If any Linux super user wants to make fun of me, please come off mute and do so. If you want to tell
no,
me
no.
how was my like blind reading of this, was I close?
It's actually very good. You did a really good job. Yes, so when you're looking at this, if you're like a PowerShell person, you're reading it and you're going, okay, I don't quite get what all this stuff is doing for sure. Let's see. Matt Gill. Yeah, you got it. Exactly. So the fun part on this is hopefully you can see my mouse. Does my mouse show up on screen?
It is not showing
Yes.
up for me.
Okay, all right, sweet.
Okay, maybe.
So yeah, this type F,
Here we
there's
go.
F and D for directory and file. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. And you're right about the, starting here in the demo and it being star.conf. The dash exec says, whatever comes after this, I want you to execute. So in PowerShell, you can think of this as like the for each object, but except we put the curly brace right there to denote. The way it denotes is the space. So then it does a copy, and this double curly brace like this says, whatever the thing that was coming across the find will be the source, and then send it to backup. The slash says, just do it. And the semicolon means I'm done with the exec part. All right,
Okay.
now the fun part is there may be a Linux person here because I've seen this backslash to be a plus, and sometimes I have to do a plus, and sometimes the backslash works. And frankly, I have no idea why one versus the other. I read the manual, I didn't commit it to memory. So anyway, let's step away from this and take a look at PowerShell, and then we're going to jump to the demo because I want it to be seen. Right? Here's the PowerShell command. Now again, remember, I said alias like maniacs. So
Okay.
anyone want to take a crack at this one? This one's easy, right?
I mean, yeah, but in this case, I'd almost disagree with the aliasing just for the clarity difference. But sure, maybe have the translation right below. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just never use CPI myself. I mean, it's Consumer Price Index. That's it.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know what CPI is either.
So I intentionally used a non-standard alias for this just to prove a point. CPI is copy item,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
All right,
I knew that, but like I said,
yeah.
I can't remember the last time I used it. I for invoke item that I got. Sorry,
Yes.
we're doing this.
Why is this not typing? I need to type in this window. So,
Thank you.
by the way, do I need to make this bigger? Let me make it bigger by 1. There we go. I will get this out of the way. Actually, I probably want that back. I'm gonna get that back. All right, so here we are with the demo folder, but we're gonna actually I am gonna ignore this. I'm gonna pretend like we don't have any of that. We only have the console, and so over here I've got my um, PowerShell extension where it's baked in, and then I've got WSL like this, and I've modified my prompt so that you know that this one is Bash, and I've modified this one so that you know it's PowerShell. All right, so in PowerShell, if I do get alias, I do CP star, CPI is copy item. That's it. Okay, so that's where we get it from. So now let's expand this. By the way, there is a typo in my code on the presentation where I have the tildes because I'm doing this in my GitHub repository. When I pulled it down, when I originally built the demos, it was in the root of my home directory. And so now that I've moved it up here, if I go here and I do dir, you can see that I've got the demo and the files. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with now. So in order for it to work, I had to change it to a dot. I'm going to update that and push that up to the repo. So if you go to the repo, you'll have the correct info in the slides. But I did want to point that out because it is different. All right, so for the bash one, I'm gonna go like this. Highlight right here. Before I do anything else, I'm going to turn on screencast. Make sure that is working. Yep, it is. Very
Gargantuan
good.
spaces.
Yep. All right. So now I'm going to F8 right here, and pressing F8, this should execute into this. However, I don't know that it will, so I'm going to find out. Oh, it did. I was having some fun with something else that I was like, I don't know why this is jumping around, but that worked. See? Worked great.
I mean,
Return.
I see, but I don't see. I think one of the other primary differences you might actually see in PowerShell is sometimes you see the objects that were copied if you do like a pass
Right.
through.
Let's just do this then. So I'm going to highlight this and press F8. And now you can see the files. There was no output to this. It just did it.
Yeah,
And so
but
now,
are the files in demo backup? Because I don't think I see any files in demo backup there.
well, let's do ls demo backup.
Okay. Doesn't seem like that worked.
Seems to have not worked, which means there's a bug in my code somewhere. Or that command, because I'm thinking that this dot may be the issue. This is one of those, I thought this worked, but maybe it doesn't do what I think it should do.
Maybe.
Remember how I said sometimes you have to do the plus? Nope, didn't like that. Let's see, is it this?
I mean, honestly, I don't want to waste that much of my time of my life trying to figure out where the demo didn't go. It's your life
Yeah.
though. But this is. I feel like I'm at least a little bit compelled to rant. Not that I want to make this case sensitivity training V2, but like I feel like
That's
there are
hilarious.
reasons that a lot of people that are used to Windows stay used to Windows, and for lack of a better way to put it, the obtuseness of your average Linux command is one of them. And I feel like PowerShell is a complicated language that varies wildly in quality, but I feel like your average PowerShell command is many orders of magnitude less obtuse than your average bash, or for that matter, even regular command line application, because there's at least some scintilla of consistency.
Okay.
Granto,
Found the issue.
what was
Found
the
the
issue?
This is not a directory. I did not already have the backup directory created, so it shoved it all into a file.
To be fair, PowerShell would have done the same thing with copy item.
Would it?
Not exactly, but close.
All right,
The
let's find
copy
out.
item is kind of annoyingly persnickety in terms of creating stuff in unexpected ways.
All right, let's find out. So I'm gonna change to the demo directory. Actually, I'm not gonna do that because that'll screw up my stuff. I'm gonna do get child item on demo. We're gonna see that backup is a file, so I'm gonna remove that item. I'm gonna remove item, demo, backup. Okay, it's now nuked. So now I'm gonna run line 5.
Now, either you're going to get this all in a file, or you're going to get a directory with the stuff inside of it. Is my memory of how this goes wrong.
Okay, let's find out.
Because, yeah, fun story. Not too long after I joined the PowerShell team, I kind of tripped pretty hard on this part of the PowerShell syntax, which
By the way,
was defended as being descended from the copy syntax in Linux, which made me, I rightly say to a colleague, it's Windows PowerShell, not Linux PowerShell. But the joke is on me in the long term because it is now both.
Well, by the way, you were correct. Because look, it is a file. And the way I can tell is over here on the dash plus the coloring. But if you're not doing the coloring, you're looking for that D. And so it's kind of hilarious. I obviously had already had the backup directory when I did this demo the first time, and I didn't notice that my files didn't do it. And so I'd set this up on my brand new instance here on this computer, and it didn't have it already. And so it is doing some wild stuff. So let's remove that item.
If I recall correctly, the way around this was to add a / to, I believe, the thing you're copying from. But this is where, again, it's like this is that taste of Linux complexity that I don't like.
/* to the destination.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, that'll indicate that backup is a directory, and then you're going to copy in all the wildcard matches all the files.
Yeah, but I believe you also need to do it on the source if you don't already have a wildcard, which you do. Basically saying, in some way, this is not going to be one item, it's going to be many items. Go grab many items and put them into this other thing, not as one item, but many items.
Awesome.
And Clem asked if it was a permission issue.
It's not a permission issue, because if you look here, I've got read, write, execute across the board.
Yeah. No, it's
right,
those are just the two most common things that pop up.
Yeah.
When dealing with files on Linux for me.
Okay, I already deleted the backup one. All right, so I'm going to run. Let's run let's run this one, because I'm confident they both will work now. But let's find out.
I'm less confident, but
I'm just going to do ls demo. And where's the backup?
There is no backup. It complained there's no such file or directory. Cannot create a file because
backup doesn't exist, and so it failed. All right, I'm going to do this.
I think
I'm going to run this one here.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to mydemoswork.com, you'll see my blog where all my stuff always works. Could not find part of path.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is where I'm going
Okay.
to go to the suggestion that the actual star would need to be on the other side, or you can just go create the directory first. Like,
Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I'm going to do.
yeah.
I'm gonna make dir this.
Fun factoid: McDir is also a command line like application on Linux. It's not the new item directory that you're used to on PowerShell. Other fun fact: McDir is actually the rejected McDonald's meal 20 years running.
There we go. So now if I dir demo backup. To put it into the star file. I swear, this stuff, wowzer. Okay,
I
see,
love it.
this is why this stuff is crazy. I mean,
We'll,
you
we'll be
think
we'll
that,
be there shortly.
I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing. Hey, look, it worked because I took the star off this time. And
Yeah,
so
because
now
as
it
I was
worked.
telling you, the star goes on the other side because otherwise you'll
Yeah,
get exactly that. And
yeah.
you might understand why a younger me, 5 minutes, not exactly, like
Oh,
maybe a week into the PowerShell team, found myself screaming at an unnamed, really brilliant colleague about this exact issue. It's like
wowzer.
I still don't remember it perfectly, even though it burned me so much that I remember it a lifetime later.
Yeah,
And
I'm
that, in
telling
a
you what.
nutshell, speaks volumes to Linux's usability, because this is the one part of PowerShell that's like, yeah, we should take all the Linux conventions for file directories that we can, and reversible slashes. I like that one. That's good. Make the slash irrelevant. Great. This part of providers, I absolutely cannot stand.
What's really hilarious to me is this is my first demo and it's going so well. Oh, shoot. I'm so glad that I had that backup directory the last time I gave this presentation and it worked flawlessly and everyone thought I was a wizard. But this time the curtain has fallen and don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay, can we get away from this? Because now that I've screwed this up, which by the way, where are my reasonable error messages for these commands that are barfing? Right?
Yeah.
It's like another thing that kind of gets me on some of the errors that I get from Linux. So they're like, you can't do that. Well, okay, super helpful. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to the presentation now that I feel like crawling in a hole. And speaking of which, not speaking of, and speaking of that demo, I don't like you anymore, demo. Please die. This is my next slide. In Linux, sometimes you just need to make something go away. So here are your executables and commandlets. And in Bash, you do PS and then you do kill. And in PowerShell, you do PS and you do kill. I don't know why PowerShell's kill is capitalized. That kind of makes me laugh a little bit. But it's the aliases for get process and stop process.
Because it's a proper kill
It
order.
is a proper kill order. Exactly. All right, so what that's going to do is going to find and stop processor screen. So here's our contrived example again. And this is what it looks like if you do it in Bash. I was running out of space, so I didn't put this one's Bash. But this is Bash. And then this one is PowerShell. Kind of get the difference between the two?
I mean,
All right, well,
honestly, you were losing me at pipe to grep dash v grep. Am I looking
okay.
for grep?
Well,
Am I looking for screen? If we're
okay.
trying to stop the process screen, why grep dash v grep?
This is why we have demos. All right. So funny thing is when you paste this in, it's like, hey, let me help you out. I'm going to expand this out. That's terrible. That will not work in Linux. So let's set that back. Thanks. Thanks to pasting. Right. And so now we've got grep dash v grep. So let's just step through this because James's question is appropriate. Let's just run psops. Now, cannot see this, cannot see that. Why is that? No such file or, oh wait, I've got some ls left in there. Oops, that was a mess up. Let's run it again. No, up here, please.
My cursor's up here.
There we go. All right, so here are my processes in this WSL. Now, in order for this to actually work, I have to start a screen process, which I have not done yet. So if I do this bit here, actually, I want to do this. In this PSAX, I'm doing grep and I'm negating grep. And the reason I'm doing that is because in this list, somewhere, I don't know where exactly, is the grep command that I just did. Actually, I think that should be toward the end. Here, let's just find it. All right, where did it highlight it? No results? I swear, this thing's going to make a liar out of me for every last thing I do.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, here it is, PSAX. Because I haven't run this yet. That's why it wasn't in there. So if I do that, it'll take out the grep. If I don't do that, I'll just show you what it would do. Okay, let's do it. PS grep screen. There is no screen, so I can't find it. So let's start with screen. All right, well, I've just started a screen session. I have to Control A and disconnect. So I just did Control A and then D to step away from it. And now if I run that command, looking for screen. Oh, I forgot the AUX. That's why that junk isn't working. There we go. So it's looking for screen and it's finding the grep command. Where'd my screen go though? I wonder if this is funky in VS Code.
Maybe. That is
Yeah.
at least quite a possibility. So a little bit, let's scroll back up to the whole example and let's see if we can try to translate it from Linuxese before we, stop bashing bash and go show how simple and awesome PowerShell is. Okay, what's the
Okay.
whole thing again? Where is it? Sorry, this feels like I'm reading a brain teaser.
It's this whole line.
Okay, so I'm here's my educated quasi guess here. Then PS aux is going to go find the list of processes. I'm guessing aux is some magic trio of things to give me the list in the way that I want. Okay,
Right.
let's copy and paste that symbol on to the next one. Grep
Okay.
grep seems like you're trying to look for a match of something. I'm going to guess any cases of grep, but who knows? And then you're going to go try to pass that into screen, which is at that point going to have captured what was written on the screen in through standard in, and then that'll go to awk, which will let you print the second line of the screen, which will then pipe into xargs kill, which will take the second line of the screen and pass it off to xargs, which will just basically run that command with whatever arguments is standard input. I know that one. So then that would kill whatever was printed as line 2 from the grep v grep pipe to grep Kramer v Kramer of whatever the hell I'm looking at. I'm so tempted to go into PG-13 and R ratings right now.
Yeah, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it clean.
But yeah,
right.
Is that anywhere near right?
So you're very close.
Okay.
You're very close, which is actually quite impressive. So, all right, let's do it here. Let's do it live. I'll write it myself and we'll do it live. Right. So one of the fun things about doing the PS command is whatever command you just entered shows up as one of the commands. Okay.
Well,
so if I do PSAUX and I do grep screen, I need to do the dash I because it has to be case insensitive. That's where I screwed up. I left off the dash I. Screen is actually running. That's where the problem was. Good thing all my demos work. Let me do it again. Now I have them. Okay, but if I don't do the grep-v grep, I'm going to get both of these back. And so then when I pass that into awk and say print 2, 2 is here's 1, here's 2. This right here that I'm highlighting is the process ID for this process. Then I'm passing that through into zargs,
All right.
however you say this.
If they're
right?
actually using tabs as a delimiter, I'm going to be extra mad. But go on.
Yeah. So awk is just saying, I'm looking for white space in order to delimitate from one to the other. And then it
Okay.
passes those IDs into zargs, and zarg says, what do you want me to do with each one of these? I want you to kill it. That's what it's doing. So by negating out the grep, why did that just move? By negating out grep, I'm saying just give me the one process that has screen.
And if you
Makes sense?
didn't do this, then it would try to stop its own grep process too, which would, I guess, blow up.
You
right?
might get some odd results. Now the grep command just kind of is a process, it does its thing, and then it goes away. That process doesn't stick around. Let's just run this.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have it complain?
It might. That's probably why I did this. I mean, we can try it. I don't
Yeah,
care. All kinds of other stuff has gone crazy.
Yeah. For a penny and for a pound, what's it gonna do
Yeah.
if you tell it not to care about grep? If we're just taking
It's not
all-
hurting me. By the way, what I just did was I highlighted everything except the zargs. And so I got the process number back from screen. All right, so now I'm going to kill them because this was the demo. This is what I actually wanted to do. And like James said, we're going to do it live. Let's find out what this does.
And I love you, Steven. It's XArgs.
XArgs, thank you. I don't know.
I think Zargs works too. I think we should start reclaiming
Hey.
some of these titles.
I'm going to call it XArgs because I don't want to get into a Zargument.
I'm gonna call it McDur from now on because I want a McDur.
Yeah, it's
I like that.
McDur. Okay. Woo. All right. So yes, we got the no such process because it is a transitive process for the grep coming back, and then it's not there, so it can't kill it. It's not an
Okay.
actual process. So that is why the grep-v, which is don't return the ones that are grep. So it doesn't do the grep, it just returns the screen. Now, all that noise and all that junk just to kill a process, and you have to know what all these are, and you have to do awk. Thankfully, we didn't have to do sed as well, and you got these greps and all this business. Look how simple PowerShell is. PowerShell's just give me the process for screen, stop it. I don't even have to do case sensitive. Okay, so let me start screen again here, just so we have it. Okay, did all the commands to start it, and then detach. Oh, by the way, I can go back into it by reattaching. Ta-da, I'm back here. Like, hello, that's not a command. It's going to complain at me. Yep, okay. And then if I detach, I mean, screen's pretty cool because you can use it to run long things and not lose your terminal. And then you can just go right back to it like I just did, right? And then hello, as you can see, I'm right back. So screen's a good thing to know about. All right, well, now that it's there, I should be able to do, I got to do get process. See, I did SC and hit tab just out of habit. I'm going to do it lowercase like my demo. And there it is. And then I can pipe that to stop process. Huh, one too many characters. And boom, it's gone. That right there is why I love using PowerShell on Linux, because I can take the stuff I know about PowerShell and I can just pipe commands from one to the other and I understand what it's doing.
And you also are
I mean, you
pointing
just
out
compare line.
get process is case insensitive, and that's very nice to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I had an uppercase screen and a lowercase screen, then it's case sensitive. And if you want to see some more crazy case sensitive stuff, go into the YouTubes and watch James and my presentation about case sensitivity training. That's out there.
Yes.
It's a good presentation. I like that one. Okay, thank goodness that one is done. Let's get back to this and pretend like I know what I'm doing again. Wait, I'm not a BOFH yet. If you don't know what a BOFH is, the internet is there for you. Because you wanted to check the processes before killing them. You didn't just rando kill some trash on your Linux server. All right, so here's the bash, how it looks. So instead of that, you just want it to tell you what it's going to do. Same basic command, ps aux grep dgrep grep iscreen, case insensitive grep, then awk print 2 because you need the process, and then xargs, even though I like zargs better, dash n1 echo kill. What? Whatever. Trust me, it works. Here's the PowerShell version. You add what if. That's it. All right, let's prove it. Demo 3. All right, so sorry that paste. It's trying to get me in trouble. Let's switch that back. Why did Alexa just wake up? All right, stop that.
Halloween.
Just rando did it. I'm going to prove that these aliases work. Okay.
I do not ever use SBPS.
I don't either, but it was there and I thought it'd be fun, so I did it. Let's run this. Now, in order for this to work, I have to start screen. Here's some fun. Because I'm using my WSL environment, and both of these are attached to my WSL environment, and this is the WSL environment, and this is the WSL environment. PowerShell, bash. I'm going to do screen here. This is just me showing off. Okay. I just put screen there. I'm going to leave it. Now, if I go over here and run this command, you can see that this is what it's going to do. It's going to kill these two processes.
And how's your other
If
tab
I do it,
doing?
if I do it here, and oop, I better switch over to this and run the PowerShell version. It says, what if I'm going to do this? It's kind of cool. This is just so easy because in PowerShell, you just add what if. On this, you have to echo out what it is you're about to do, and you have to understand the xargs syntax for the -n1 in order to do this. Do I know this? No, I have to read and look this stuff up because I don't have it memorized the way that I do PowerShell. So that's why I do it this way.
Hey, Stephen, I noticed
Yeah.
earlier you mentioned that if there are multiple processes that have one lowercase, one uppercase, that PowerShell becomes case sensitive. But
Yep.
what you just showed us actually is not telling us that, because it just said what if lowercase screen and what if uppercase screen. So, but you only search for lowercase screen.
So you're correct. I was not clear. Where it happens is if I want to do like this, I'm going to do git process S and then hit tab. It doesn't know which one it is because there's multiples of them. And
Sure.
here's an interesting thing that I was surprised by this, and I was actually going to try to just ignore it and blast past it. Where's the capital one? Where'd it go?
You would need to use a capital S there instead of a lowercase s.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct. So now, if I do capital S, capital C, and I hit tab, it is lowercasing it.
Yeah.
This is where PowerShell caps and capital letters and Linux are going to burn you.
I mean, that's just inefficient.
Yeah.
Because, if you were
So-
uppercasing it, fine, right? Like, at that point,
Yeah.
you're not adding quite as much per number. But,
I'm kind of curious if when I started screen on one of these, I started it lowercase. Let's see.
I
Control A,
guess, yeah. If you did lowercase
detach.
first, that would be quicker.
Yes. X. Correct screen. Oh, I need an I.
It could also be a weird sort of cache to keep valid, no matter where you're doing
That
it.
is that's a fun thing because this one only knows about this uppercase. But this instance, it's probably has to do with my WSL shells over here, and I'm in a weird state. Normally I don't do this in VS Code, so I'm trying to be clever, and apparently it has decided to burn me. Oh boy. Okay, any other questions before I roll on?
Not
It's
a
going to seem
question,
like
just
a
a
random
quick.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you start a process and feed it the name that's got Unicode in it? Like that?
You want me to do a start process and
Yeah, start
feed it?
process and feed it what I threw in chat, which is a little Unicode character.
Oh. Okay, let me go snag that out of there.
See if you
All
can
right,
have a Unicode name process.
I'm curious if it'll let you.
On
All right,
Linux, on Windows, I mean, it should.
I'm not going to do that there. I'm going to do it here. So you want me to do start process?
Well, let's see what the emoji is first. You know,
Oh,
It's a
wait,
unicorn. It's a unicorn.
I can't do
sure,
that.
that's what you say.
Start process, and then the process is this.
Yep.
Yeah, Dan, you are exactly right. This is a trap.
No, it's not. It's just a unicorn.
Unicorns are traps.
All right. It won't let you.
Well, I mean, it's not saying it won't let you.
That is hilarious.
It is more actually saying, like, if we want to do you have GCC available? Right? You write a quick hello world and see?
No. No.
Because I'm pretty sure we could actually make our unicorn process work.
Yeah.
And then we would definitely have a unicorn that is trapped.
Okay. And I need to I need to get the heck out of here is what I need to do. Let's get out of that. All right, so I terminated screen. Let's see if I have any left. PS screen. I'm hitting tab, but you can't see it because this doesn't work like that. So let me minimize that. Go back to here. PS SCR tab. See, it won't do it now because there are no. Oh, CPS is not get process. It's GPS in PowerShell. And that's why the tab wasn't working, and now it's back. You sucker. But there we go. We don't have the process for SCR anymore. Woo-wee! Okay. What's next? Was that demo 3? Yeah, that was demo 3.
Oh, come on. Rule of threes. That should be it. There's enough.
Back to the slides. Oh, you thought that was fun? Are you certain?
Oh, no.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh,
Multiple
buckle up,
levels.
baby. So you need to check certificate files for the subject alternate name and list the file name and the SAN for the file. This actually, I have to do this, by the way. So that's why it's in here. Here's the bash version. No, we're not going to read it.
You sure?
But that's what it is.
I mean, it's this or my pet goat.
Here's the PowerShell version. Ready? Okay. It's better, but it's still complicated. All right, so let's jump back over here and take a look at these, and I'll explain them. All right, so I have demo certs, and the name is star.pem for all my certs. So if I go look at that, let's just go, let me get into the right environment here, get back to bash, and I'm just going to do ls demo certs. Actually, I want to do ls-l because I want to see everything. Demo certs. All right, so I went and snagged GitHub and mail.google.com, Bing, and LinkedIn. I thought those would be fun because they're public and I can go snag them. So then I do the exact thing again, and I'm going to do SHC, which I don't know what does off the top of my head. And then it does this file with this thing, and then it does this, and it pipes whatever the SAN is into OpenSSL X509. And I just realized I need to turn on view
Yeah.
appearance wrap. Where's the wrap?
I don't know. But I do know that SH is bash.
No, that's reset. Where's the word
It's
wrap?
at the
There it
bottom
is.
of the view menu. Yeah.
Word wrap. Thank you very much. All right, so now I got it. Okay, so then it runs all that into OpenSSL X509 in the file. It's piping the file with no out and text, and it pipes that into grep. And I need the line that is after the one that it finds where it's subject alternative name, because I need the ones that are after that. And then I'm going to tail that in +2. So it's show me all of them +2. And then I pipe that into sed because I'm looking for a string, and I'm looking for the DNS colon, and I want that to be global. And then I don't know what TR is. And it does it. Oh, wait, that's replace. And it's getting rid of the new lines, and it's
That's
turning new lines into
replace.
commas. Yep. And then it pipes that back
Okay.
into sed. And it says, okay, I want you to go find the comma space and nuke them. And then that'll echo out the name and the base file name of file, because that's what all this is coming through file here, the file equals, and echo SAN, and echo. So you get the name and the SAN. Got all that?
No.
That took me a while to put together, by the way.
I'm tired.
All right, let's run it and see what it looks like, just to say, okay, we were in it. Go.
Let's not and
There they
say we
are.
did.
There they are. So it works. Here it is, github.com pin. That's the name of it. And there's the SAN in it. GitHub.com and www.github.com. I love LinkedIn. Look at LinkedIn.
Rum.
Rum 6.
I
Rum
have
6. Rum
serious
17.
questions right now. And
Serious
unserious questions.
Oh, an unserious question. All right. That'll even be even better.
Well, the serious questions is like who ran this by HR, and the unserious question is where is your rum?
Out of arm's reach, because it's the only way I can make it through this presentation.
Fair, but I was actually, asking about LinkedIn because anyone that has that many rums in a domain name
Yep.
or insert SAN, like that is somebody that probably has a copious amount of good rum in or around their office, which brings me back to that first question.
Yeah.
About HR.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting here. It's like, they've got a lot of www.linkedin.com, and then they've got, subdomains on the front of them. Here's EXP5, here's real time, here's node4,
that
here's
makes total sense to me.
Yeah, it does. I just
like
find
different
it
A/B testing or different services that you're going to deliver.
now. I mean, back to the presentation. This works, right? This does what I wanted to do, and I could have done this as JSON formatted output if I had the JSON. What is that thing that converts to JSON? Doggone it. JK.
Q.
Okay, JK. I don't remember. Just kidding.
jQuery.
Anyway. JQ, thank you.
The JQ, yeah.
Yeah, so I could convert it to JSON, and then I could have something useful. Now, if you don't have PowerShell, you need to know how to do this kind of stuff, right? But if you do have PowerShell, here's how the PowerShell one works. Get the child item for all the star.pem files, and then I'm going to select the name, and then I'm going to build my own custom property. Thank you, Brain. And I'm going to call it SAN, because N equals SAN. And then the expression, I'm still using OpenSSL in order to get this, using the no out text. And then I'm still using grep A1, subject alternative name, and I'm still using the tail. But then I replace all the white spaces with nothing, and here's what I get. I have to change my shell and roll, baby. Boom. I love that so much. And now I have an object.
Now look cleaner.
Yeah. And yeah, these run off because of the dot dot dots. Yeah, you can see that. So then, if you're a PowerShell person, you're like, okay, put that to format table and auto size it and wrap, right? Run that. There you go. Power of PowerShell. I love it. Okay. Any questions or comments on that?
I mean, I might not use grep and tail, but if you wanted to for demonstration purposes, fine. I do think it
Sure.
is kind of good to note that, like, it's never PowerShell versus this, that, or the other. It's always PowerShell and this, that, or the other.
Good point.
Like,
Yep.
you can have your super amazing bash script and run it from PowerShell. And you can have your super amazing PowerShell script and run it from bash. And you can run your Python script from either or both. It's a very
I-
mix and match world. It was did Don Jones and you put it? Yes, anding, right?
Yes, and
So,
correct.
But you know what? I also like the fact that you can take where it has like the grep in there on the PowerShell side, and you could change out the grep too, or you could choose to simply use the grep in place and tackle that another time. So you can piecemeal cut it apart
yeah,
and
Right.
mix and match. You can what would this term be called in Texas would be Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Not Mexican, not Texas. It's a fusion of both, and it still
Right.
works. And people talk it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So are we
Now,
talking
the
Power Bash
key,
here?
the key. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
I mean,
I
a
was just
little
saying,
bit.
are we talking about Power Bash here or Bash? Well, no, Bash Shell is just Bash, so I guess
I don't
Power
know.
Bash makes
I
the
think
most sense.
honestly, you might have accidentally happened upon a really great like product name that might potentially end wars between two camps. Because
Mhm.
Yeah.
at the end of the
Again,
day, like it's a real common misunderstanding to the degree that I or any other early PowerShellers played any part in it. I'm sorry, but
Yep.
it's like it's never been you have to do everything 100% PowerShell all the time because PowerShell works with everything else. Like you can make it easy to expose in a PowerShell function or in a PowerShell script, but you are still talking to .NET APIs and RESTful APIs and command line and applications and C APIs all under the covers. Nobody's going to like boil the ocean. And even if I can build an assembler in PowerShell, I'm not going to try to rebuild every program under the face of the earth in PowerShell. So it's
exactly.
always PowerShell plus everything else. And that
Exactly.
network effect is huge. It means everything we know how to do in PowerShell multiplies with everything else in the world.
Power
And
The
if
Bash.
they learn some PowerShell, they can learn
the
how to
the
multiply other
comment
things too.
I'd put on this is, and kind of close the loop on this for me, is I had already built this much of the command,
Yeah.
right? I already had this because I was trying to do the certs. And so I just replaced it here in PowerShell, my PowerShell custom property or expanded property or whatever this is. Calculated property is the word I'm looking for, right? I did the exact same thing. Now I could have replaced grep with select string and done all this, and I would replace tail with get content, right? I could do that. So it would be like, with the exception of the OpenSSL command, I'm using native commandlets in PowerShell, but who cares?
Yeah.
I still
And
get the same amount. I can still get
I-
the same output. The key is, do you understand the skills that you need in order to parse it? Because if you don't understand what this replace is doing, then this is no good to you because this regex is doing stuff,
yeah.
right? This is one or more spaces at the beginning of a line. I'm getting rid of them because sometimes those sans they're indented, and I want them all the way to the left. That's what that's doing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James. You're gonna say something?
Well, a couple of things, and actually, I'm now kind of curious. The other thing I would guess, and maybe I'm wrong here, could you in your PowerShell window in your PowerShell WSL just get child item certificate or cert colon? See if do we have a certificate provider on Linux? I don't think we do. Get PS drive. Let's see if we've got a drive for it. I doubt it. I think I've looked before.
Nope.
Just any PS drive. Do we have it at all? Maybe I
Oh,
was
I'm
remembering
sorry.
the name. I don't use this that often. Nope, we don't.
Yeah.
So without the cert provider right there, getting certificates on Linux would be a big pain in the butt. So this is a great example of where you want to be drawing the line. Like, I could go try to move heaven and earth to find a .NET API that would enumerate certificates on Linux, and maybe that would be 1 or 2 milliseconds or even 1 or 2 seconds faster.
Yeah.
But it's going to be way more complicated than taking the copy and paste example from OpenSSL and just using the command line, because the command line is going to give you back those results reliably in a format that you can generally
Exactly.
parse. And once you've
See,
parsed it once, you don't ever have to care again. Clem's got his
this
hand
is
up,
what
by the way.
this is what you were looking at, and then we'll come back to who has the hand up. The certificate provider here on Windows.
Yeah.
It's because Windows has a certificate store that's kind of the how it does all of its certificates. You don't have a comparable thing like that in Linux. And so I was basically evaluating the PIM files that I downloaded. And since you don't have that search store, you can't do something like this. Who had a question?
I think Clem has a hand raised.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, your demo command, by the fact that you're using grep, you're sort of pinning your PowerShell code to only work in a WSL context. Whereas if you rewrote it using select object and the doing like a context of your search instead of tail, could you make it so that it's cross-platform, and now you've got a solution that works in both Windows and Unix?
I mean, it'd take a few more lines, but I think this is also still one of those cases where I would want basically an if, is Windows or is Linux or is Mac OS approach,
Right.
because I'm going to have an order of magnitude more pain trying to get this without the certificate provider. And if it was a cert that's not in the cert provider on Windows, I'm going to have similar pains. I can just approach them differently. So if I can make
Yep.
code that'll work
Well,
for both, great. If I can't make
but
code
James,
that'll work for both, an if will help.
the crux here is that these PEM files are not installed in your Windows machine store. They're physically on a file system.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to use the certificate provider even
Yep.
on the Windows side unless you
correct.
first imported them into your HK local machine.
So Clem, I will accept your challenge, and not in this demo. Let's finish what I have, and then I'll redo these so that they'll work in both.
Yeah.
Yep. I know how to do it. I didn't do it here, but you're exactly right, and I appreciate
Yeah, I'm
that
just
insight.
thinking that if we're trying to, like I
Yep.
said, if we
That's a
really
good
want to
point.
show the power of it, we can show that it's not only can I do it here, but I can also make it cross-platform.
No, you're exactly right. That's why I'm saying I accept your challenge. And I'm going to do it. Okay, let's don't stay here all night, gentlemen. Let's roll, because I still have whether or not you want to become part of the system. I know it's pronounced system D. I'm just trolling now. All right, so if you aren't checking your syslog on Linux, are you even adminning? Are you even adminning, bro?
No.
All right. Here's your var log syslog. You better be looking at your syslog to find out what your Linux systems are doing. So you want to check the syslog for when cron jobs have run. Hey, you may have a cron job and you need to know, did it run? All right, well, here's how you do it in Bash. You do grep case insensitive on cron and you pipe it the file. Easy. PowerShell, also easy. Get content of syslog and select string on cron. Okay, let's take a look at it. What could possibly go wrong with a demo that small, right?
I mean, don't tempt fate like that.
Okay, here we go. Here's the cron for syslog. F8. Cron jobs in the syslog. Piece of cake. All right. Nothing complicated about that. Should have started with this one because it works.
You do what?
PowerShell, same thing. So I'm just doing get content. I'm piping into select string. Thing I like about select string and grep is it highlights things, except, yeah, where was the cron? Oops, I'm scrolling in the wrong one. Yeah, here we go. Cron and cron. It's all nice and highlighted. Okay, piece of cake. That's done. Why did I put that in here? Okay, well, those are too similar. And I object to Bash and PowerShell being too similar. So I did this. Let's turn the contents of the syslog file into a parsable format. So here's how you do it in Bash. And yes, I put buckle up in parentheses because there it is.
Please don't do this.
Yikes. Okay, now it's so much that I couldn't even get the PowerShell on here. Also, there's a bug in this. We'll get to that. So the object of my affection is PowerShell. That's why I'm wearing PowerShell code on my t-shirt. That's why I have a PowerShell hat. But it's still, you better buckle up because this is what it looks like in PowerShell.
Only if
All
you
right,
try
let's
to
go.
push it all into one line.
Yes, I did.
Ugh.
I said at the start I was trying to push it all into one line. But you still got to call Orkin because we still have bugs. All right, let's take a look at it. All right, here's the buckle up demo. Thankfully, it's our last one. Woof. So we start with awk and do the begin. And I'm going to name an OFS so that I can do $OFS somewhere else in here that I can't even see
I don't
on
even
screen
want
at
to
the moment.
understand this. I really don't.
And I'm going to print the time step and the host. Okay, forget it. Let's don't read all this stuff because here's some $1s and hostname $4. And then I'm matching off of these spaces and procs and process and holy smokes. Also, I needed some help with this. Also, I still had to write a bunch of this crap. And even though I wrote it, I'm sitting here reading it going, what does this do? Oh, it's a for loop. Okay, for I is 5, I is NF. Where did NF come from? End of file, start of file? I don't know. Increment. Good grief, I'd have to go look at all this stuff. It's something. But if you run it, here's what it looks like. Let me make sure I'm on the right. Yep, I am. Okay. Run. There it is. So it parsed it. And as you can now see, it's in comma separated format. So here's the date, and then here's the computer it ran on, and then here's whatever's next, whatever next, and then the process message. And then you got some junk in here because it's like, hey, you can't run this because reasons and whatever. Actually, that was a PowerShell message. Now, if it doesn't match the format exactly, which you get some syslogs that don't follow the exact format because there's processes that aren't exact processes, then it just does some really messed up stuff. Like, what is this? So I told you there's bugs. Now, what I was doing with this is I would just throw out all the bugs and be like, okay, I'm not looking for that right now. I was looking for a particular thing, right? And so I was looking for whatever. I don't even know what I would say I was looking for. Okay, but it does work. Let's look at the PowerShell version. Same basic thing. I'm getting the content and then I'm doing a for each. And if it matches this, then it does a host name of this kind and a PS custom object. And this will only do the ones that match my regex. So let's see what it looks like. So I get timestamp, the host name, the process ID, and the message. It only matches this.
You want to make this a lot shorter, real, with like one little change?
Possibly. What's up?
Okay. So, because matches is a hash table, and you can add
Yeah.
hash tables together, what you could write this as is actually like PS custom object, parentheses, empty hash table plus matches. and then that'll output all of the matches as their own property. Can you give me that try real quick?
Okay, you're saying
Just where you open the hash table with timestamp. Just go to there, or just copy the whole thing down, and we'll tweak it.
so. You're saying
Copy the whole thing down, and then we're gonna go to
this
right
part?
there. Yeah, exactly. Get rid of everything that you had in the hash table.
Let me
Or-
copy this part.
Yeah, exactly. Copy the whole thing first, so we feel like safe. Cool. So we've got our
Okay.
match.
Yep.
Cool. Now let's open our if and close our if so that it stops yelling at us, and close our for each object so that it also stops yelling at us. So just
That closes that.
you still got to close your if.
Oh,
There we go. Yep. Okay, cool. And we want to say empty hash table, or put this in parentheses actually. So parentheses.
just parentheses.
Just parentheses is fine. Empty hash table plus matches.
So like spelled out empty
No,
hash table?
At curly brace, empty hash table.
Oh,
Plus-
like that.
Yep. Plus dollar matches.
I've never done this. This is interesting.
And then you can run it right now. You'll get a full dictionary back of all the matches. But if you put a PS custom object cast in front of that, then it'll turn it into an object. So you want to put the PS custom object outside of the parentheses. So you're doing the addition of both, then casting. The
Oh,
custom
I see.
object.
Like this.
Yep.
No, don't help me.
I hated that auto completer for PS custom objects so much. We should find out who wrote that and get them
Like,
to take it
It
out.
helps. It helps. Okay, so is this correct?
I believe so. It looks right. Yeah.
Let's
try
run it
again.
and find out. Woo! Look at that.
With the extra good bad of that you get a property named 0 because we didn't remove that from matches first. And that
That's
was your
correct.
whole match.
So it was 0, 1, etc. So on the matches, I need to do
If you wanted to
1.
remove it, no, because then that won't be a hash table and it won't add properly.
Oh,
But you can remove
Okay,
the
I
0
see.
from matches before you add matches.
gotcha. Okay, I see what you're doing.
But this is nice and short, and sometimes
Yeah.
you want the whole match anyway.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay.
So yeah, actually,
Interesting
in this
thing,
case, it's
so-
almost really kind of handy to have the whole match anyway, because I get to see what it came back with, and then
Uh-huh.
this, you know.
Yep. All right, let's. All right, so
Sorry,
we've seen
it's just
that. Any other
really handy
comments?
trick.
I'm gonna check the chat over here. I don't see any eyes falling out in the chat. So I think we're good. Okay, now the bugs part of that, which I tried to solve by doing this. So if you're gonna do this, running it all as one command, as you already pointed out, it's kind of dumb. I mean, you can do it, but it's kind of dumb because you're trying to do too much complexity into one line. So write that as a script, or in my case, write it as a function. So I have get sj syslog, and here is the address. Don't worry, I'm going to paste that out there for you. But this function, oh, wait, I even have a QR code. So if you have your phone handy and you're watching, boom, and I promise that those two are the same. It's still not perfect because the regex patterns don't match every possible scenario in the syslog. But if we go back to the code and I pull up what that looks like, the syslog functions. Let me close this window just so we can look at the code. I'm passing it where the syslog path is, and I've set it by default in here. But if you want to analyze the syslog in a different place, or you've got a .back file, so it's a parameter. You're PowerShell people, you understand this. But then you get into the regex patterns, and here's me defining a systemd process in syslog. and then here's a -m entry in the syslog, and then here's a kernel entry in the syslog, okay? And then I have to get a defined year for the date of year parsing, because in the syslog, whoever built this, and I'm not thankful for this, probably understand why, because back when Unix was built, they didn't have a lot of space, so they left off the date of the year, which is a pain in the butt, especially around December 31st when you're trying to analyze logs. Actually, January 1st when you're analyzing logs, because it's a mess. Anyway, my beef aside, I'm now reading the syslog and I'm looking for the matches, and then I'm outputting the object based on what matches in the match for the regex. That's what all this business is doing. Hey, it's cool. Let's see it run. So I'm just going to copy it, and I think I'll go to my terminal so that we have a bigger way to view it. This is PowerShell, Ubuntu, paste, live dangerously, go.
Nice.
And so now you can see that some of these are the kernel process, and the kernel process has a different processor ID than a regular process and its processor ID. And notice you got the messages for these. I don't know if I've got the -m. I'm looking. Oh, fun. Remember when we did the PowerShell and it weirded out Chris?
Yeah.
Here it is. You cannot do this unicorn in the working directory, etc. So it wrote
Yeah,
that
we're
into
not
the
just saying
syslog.
that we didn't find a command.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
I
saying
know.
we couldn't run the command. I'm just
I
saying,
know.
like,
But
if
I
we actually
mean,
made a bad unicorn there, that would not complain.
yes, true.
Well, at least
But
I know that unicorns can exist in the syslog.
how cool? Yeah, on my syslog for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how cool is that? Where if you understand the regex and these patterns, and you get something that doesn't match this, and it dumps out in your object, and you're like, oh wait, I've got a new one. So it's not systemd, it's not -m, and it's not kernel. So you just build another one, and you put in the parser for it,
Yeah.
and you structure it all out.
I want to like highlight how you're constructing the regexes there, because honestly, this is something that I only realized I should do this like the other week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been constructing them. Normally, I've got, a regular, I'll use new regex to construct them. Sometimes I'll add comments directly to the thing. But that kind of creates a little bit of a problem, because it's like I'm having to build them a little bit differently than normal PowerShell and mess a little bit with here string sometimes. And I don't actually need the comments in a lot of cases,
Right.
But this approach lets me construct the regex basically the same way, but
Yeah.
I can throw my PowerShell comments in line as I'm creating the list. You also don't
Exactly.
technically need the commas, because you've already got the list operator surrounding the whole thing. So you
It's
can
true.
basically be like, start anchor, on the first line, this complicated stuff, or match date format on the next one. You can have really nice
Yep.
explainable regexes that are really readable up until the very second that they are joined with spaces or with no spaces, and then work.
Right.
And you don't
That's
have
a
to worry
good
about
point.
case sensitivity. Whereas if I construct the regex by hand and actually allow comments in the regex, then those regexes won't work as many places. You have to
Yeah.
worry about whether the regex was created with case insensitive turned on or not. Otherwise, it won't match properly in PowerShell. So
Yep.
I've realized this is the better way to just fashion your own quick, complicated regex inside of a script. And I'm
Exactly.
very impressed to see it. And I want to highlight her. This is a really cool,
No,
simple technique.
I appreciate that, because I was going to blast past it without thinking about it. But let me run this. I'm going to F8 this so that you can see it's not going to pop it into this variable name. And you can see what the output is, right? So here is my regex.
Which is
Now,
much
nobody
uglier.
wants to read this crap on a single line, right? It's too much. You show that to someone, they're like, ugh. But if you do this and you do like what James was talking about and what I've done, this is start of line. Hey, look, thanks, Copilot. Tell me what this one does. one or more spaces. I love this part of
Okay, this is the one thing Copilot might not entirely suck at.
non-space characters for host name. And so I'm doing a named capture group here.
You've
And
got a regex decompiled. Oh, you made me so happy, sir.
Again,
Here
I've
you
always
go.
spelled regex as regrets, but this might change
Yeah.
my opinion.
this is a really cool, really simple technique, and kind of the best part about it, if you stop to examine it, it's a language agnostic technique too. It's essentially saying, regardless of whatever language, instead of building your regex all as one big string, build it as a bunch of little strings and then join them and then match. Because it'll be more readable for the next person coming along. And again, while regex comments are actually a thing, they're only a thing in certain flavors of regex with certain options turned on. So, which would you rather? Would you have a regex that works most everywhere or a regex that is perfectly commented? I guess I would want the most everywhere. And this allows me to kind of have a best of both worlds. It's often like very proximate. It's like, here is my complicated regex. There we go. Another thing you can do with this is you can actually like provide a variable or loop. So if you wanted to see if something was one of 500 different strings, go construct one regex that just escapes them all and ORs them. And there you go. You don't have to do 500 comparisons. You could basically let the regex engine do that for you.
Yeah.
Or you could
So
just watch
those of
them
you,
do the Copilot on multiple lines and then just do the whole thing in 5 lines below.
yeah, for those of you who are watching me type while James was pontificating on how this is so important, I just highlighted these lines and went to Copilot chat and said, hey, put a comment on the end of each one of these and explain them. And it just went brrr, right through it. It's amazing. That kind of stuff. And I tell people the Copilot is actually really good at regex. Oh, wait, I'm way off my presentation. But, Copilot is good at it. Let me get back to the presentation because I want to get us out of here and get into the chit chat time. So again, you can add to what I've built. It's out there on the GIST right now, so you can go get it. Now, here's the summary. I'm going to summarize very quickly. I'm going to go into my grew up in St. Louis, talking fast English here. Is you have survival skills in order to be effective at Linux and PowerShell, right? So if you're going to be doing Bash and you're going to do it native, you better know odd, set, cut, word count, unique, and sort. Okay, you just have to know these things in order to survive. And you better know Google or an LLM or a gray bearded associate or friends or therapy in order to survive, because you're going to need it. Now, if you're in PowerShell, you need for each object, you need where object, you need select object, you need select string, and you need sort object. Select string, in my opinion, is the unheralded champion of parsing text and finding information. Learn it, get good at it. You can do wizard stuff with it. And you're going to need functional skills. Now, I put that in parentheses to make my standard dad joke pun, but do functions. Do like I did for that get SJ syslog, where you're parsing something, you write a function, put it into your PowerShell on Linux, and then use the tar out of it, because that'll save you so much time. It'll be so useful.
Don't you
And
use the tar XF out of it?
yeah, hey, I'm not going to Zarg with you. Those arguments. Security, I already made that joke. I probably should stop doing it. So this get security department approval if you're going to put PowerShell on your Linux systems, because they're going to freak out if you don't. So get approval. That's me disclaimering and covering my butt. Now, for both, you're going to do Bash and you're going to do PowerShell, you have to know regex. I've been talking about regex. I did a PowerShell Wednesday on regex. Go find that on YouTube. Learn regex. It's so powerful. I keep talking about it. It is required. Just ask Mike Kanakos. I'm throwing his name, tossing him under the bus a little bit. He and I've been teasing back and forth for years now on regex. And yes, I get that it looks weird, especially if you're looking at, what we were showing over here, which is this. You just hand that to someone and go, here, run this. They're going to be like, ick, yuck, no. But once you learn it, I can look at that and read it, which I'm either broken or I've learned a skill, or both.
A bit
Okay.
of both.
finish up. Here's how we can stay in touch. I'm on X, also Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a crap. Blue Sky, I'm there too. This is me on LinkedIn, PowerShell Bridge channel. I have an opinion. Use the Discord one. I like it better, whatever. But there's Slack for those people that want to do that. On Discord, I'm Judd Missile, so you can go find me there when I'm lurking about doing the yak about PowerShell. My blog, I keep putting need CSS help on here because it's kind of very text driven, very basic, no graphics, no ads, but it loads really fast. I'm telling you what. GitHub, Stephen Judd. This presentation, I'm going to update it because I've got some formats and some updates that I need to do out there, but it's out there. It's under Don't Bash PowerShell. And then finally, thank you very much for having me. If you go to store.stephenjudd.com, you can buy my merch that I put out, like this shirt with Learn PowerShell on it, or this cool hat with my little PowerShell bot that I've designed. And I've got some other designs like the PowerShell Arc Reactor, which is basically all the eyes on the PowerShell guy on my hat in the big chest thing. And it looks like kind of like the Iron Man reactor design, whatever. That's it. James, I think I've worn myself and the audience out at this point.
I don't know. I think we might have a little bit of energy for the after party, but we're going to say goodbye to the
Heck yeah.
greater internet and hopefully join us next month for some more PowerShell fun. This is the Pacific PowerShell User Group. Thank you for dropping by and see ya.